All right, class. This is the preview for the 30-point project called Number Wars. Now, building on what we did in the previous project, we learned how to use if statements, random number generators. We've also been practicing uh, nested ifs and compound ifs, and that's going to be what this program is going to basically focus on. You will have to have nested or compound ifs. Uh, you can't just say if and then that's it. It has to be nested or compound. Now keep in mind, nested, if blah equals blah, something along the lines of that. And then nested, there'd be an if inside of that. Blah blah. Braces, always a good idea. And there you go. Compound would be basically if blah equals blah and blah equals blah. You could also do or, which is this pipe symbol, this line symbol, directly under backspace when you hold shift. And or. Those are the two options for the middle here. So compound ifs, nested ifs. You're going to have to pick one of those for this project. Now, how the project's going to work. You need a random number generator. Big surprise. Uh, it's going to pick 0, 1, or 2. Now, you are also going to type in a number, 0, 1, or 2. The computer picks a number randomly. You type yours in. You don't get to see what they pick at all until the whole program is basically finished. So here's how the program would basically work. You type in a number. It would tell you what you chose. Then it would tell you what the computer chose. Then it would calculate who won based on that. The winning conditions are just like this. 0 will lose if you pick 0 and the computer picks 1, 0 loses. 1 loses to 2. Now, here's the thing that messes most people up. 2 loses to 0. Now, what a lot of people do initially starting out is they will say, if my number is bigger, I win. Well, that is not always the case. In fact, that is not the case for this one. If you say, if my number is bigger, I win, you basically did not get the program right, because this last case will fail. There are two cases where if yours is bigger, you will win, though. So that is, it's possible to write it that way, but you just have to write things specifically. But there's this one case where that's not true. Now, of course, if we both pick the same one, it will be a tie. Now, here's the basic logic. You display the win conditions, the rules for the user, as you see up here. Display the numbers, let the user pick, and the computer is going to randomly pick their number. Then you print what each one chose. Then you'll have your if statements to check to see who won. There's a couple of different ways to do this, some longer than others. You could do, as I showed you before, nested ifs. If I chose 0 and they chose 0, well, it's a tie. If I chose 0, they chose 0, it's a tie. You use compound ifs, one or the other. The longest way to do this is you're going to need about 9 plus ifs. One for each of these. I choose 0, I choose 0. I choose 0, they choose 1. I choose 0, they choose 2, and so on and so forth. Now, there's a lot of redundancy here, so you could actually have less ifs depending on how you write it. I think at the lowest, you can probably have about 3 ifs here to basically encompass all 9 of these options. At the longest, you'll have to do each one as an if statement. So 9 ifs, and neither is wrong. Both work. Just one's a lot shorter, a lot less writing. But your goal is to make it work, not simply just, make it as pretty as possible. You want it to look nice. You want it to work. But You want it to work first and foremost before, making it look pretty. As long as it works, that's the first thing I'm worried about. Once you've done that, you can worry about trying to shorten it or, add bells and whistles or whatever it is you want after that. Now, I do have a bit of a bonus here. Now, the bonus is you give the player a choice to play versus the computer or another player. Now, before you even contemplate that, and I always have someone who starts trying to write that at the very beginning, don't do that. Write the basic program first. Make sure it works. Save it. Oop, mic came off for a second. All right, then basically write the basic program, save it. Then, submit it. Make sure it works. Uh, then go ahead and tinker with it and try to add the bonus. If you completely screw up your project, you've at least turned in the basic one. And have had people royally screw up their project completely and totally, and then just turn in a broken project when they had it working. So always get the basic one working before you start adding bells and whistles. Now this is the project. It's due, obviously, Friday by midnight. Uh, if you have any questions, you're welcome to message me, of course, as always. Uh, if I'm having class, well, then I would be in the classroom. You can come and ask questions there. If not, which is the case as I'm making this video, then I can probably set something up online for people to ask questions to. Uh, we'll see. All right, and that's it.